Okay, well, continuing, I'm going to make the little lidded jar, but as I say, I'm going to make a bigger one. One of the things I'm going to have to be careful about is, of course, because this is a faceted jar, I've got to be careful about the wall thickness. I've got to be careful that I throw it thick enough. So what I'm effectively going to be doing is throwing a heavy-ish pot right now. This is 4 pounds of clay. So let's start. No. Okay, we're switched on. Good. When one is centering, one can have the speed a little faster than after you've opened the clay out and the pot is starting to take shape. And then it's a good idea to slow it down. Okay, I'm going in, you see. Now look, when I'm pushing in like this, I'm not pushing in with one finger. Okay, you can't do much with one finger. 2 fingers you can do more. But if you can get 3 or 4 fingers and go, when you want to go into a big lump of clay, you know, you've got to get a little bit grunt into it. Okay. Go down, don't go through the bottom. You want to go down. And now we're going to pull the clay out. It's a little bit stiff, this clay, actually. Okay, once you've just gone in there with, like I showed you, okay, you can wet your hand, grasp the rim here like this. Imagine it's a tyre, you're trying to change a wheel or something. You grab it and push it to the centre. Okay, when you get it, and then push it like that. And it brings it into a certain amount of submission. So just get hold of it and push it to the centre. It does something to the platelets of clay. It gets them lined up, and you know. Okay, well, what I've got to do now is have a look. I'm going to use my knuckle. I'm going to get underneath it with my knuckle here on the right side and pull upwards and towards the centre. Okay. Round the top of the pot with your web, if you're a duck. Whack. Okay, now we've got to push in again. Push in again, you see. Get that little bulgy bit sticking out there, you see. You get that bit there sticking out, and then you're going to get your knuckle underneath it. You understand me? And we're just going to feed that clay up. Oops, I mean, I better not forget I'm supposed to be be faceting this, aren't we? I'll make it too thin. It'll end up like that teapot I did the other day I told you about. Okay, I'm pushing in, and now I'm just widening it, coming up, looking for the shape. The shape is like a honey pot, you know, one of those honey pots. Cool. When I was in England, I had an order for about 150 honey pots I had to make. And they were like this shape, but they weren't as big as this, they were small, but they had little lids and knobs and... Alright, so... Well, it just could be I've made this too thin in the wall. I wasn't thinking what I was doing for a minute as I was talking, and one thing to remember if you're going to facet a pot, it's best if the surface of the pot is a little on the smooth side rather than like a freshly ploughed field, if you know what I mean. Oop. This one is too thin in the wall. Oh, well, I'll just have to make another one, won't I? Now maybe I can hear some people out there thinking to themselves, and there are a lot of people who think to themselves that it is wrong to copy. And it really, at least I don't think it is. I don't think it's wrong to copy something. What was it? Picasso said something about this, didn't he? And if I was just merely copying, I think he said he didn't copy, he stole ideas. Well, I don't know if I would say that it's stealing, because any inspiration that you get, and many inspirations that you get are out there free for the gathering, if you want to go out there and gather them, and you know, but you know, if there's something that you really admire and you really like, I don't think it's, You know, it all that sort of thinking. What I was trying to say was that sort of thinking, I think, stems from this idea that we've all got to be original. We've all got to be, but the truth is we are all original. It's not something we've got to strive at or, you know, become self-conscious about becoming original. Or, you know, we are original. And I find, you know, even if this little pot here, which is giving me an inspiration and I'm wanting to copy it, my pot isn't going to be the same as that. It's going to be a little bit different. It's going to have a little bit of the stamp of me on it. So, you know, there really isn't anything wrong with copying, and I think it's a good way of practicing, quite frankly. I mean, I know there's a lot of you out there who make a lot of, you see me making something, and I tell you, have a go at doing this. Well, you could say, oh, well, that's copying. You can't do that, you know. It's not being original. That's a load of old baloney, isn't it? Of course you can copy. Of course you can have a go. You can imitate something that is good. What is wrong with that, for goodness sake? See where the art world is so topsy-turvy. It really is. So-called art world. So, carry on copying. Okay, what I've got to do now is, with a pair of calipers, now it's always a good idea, measure before you take the pot off the wheel. Because I've got to make a lid for this now, so just going to measure estimate what is the inside diameter from point to point across the mouth there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. So let's get this guy off the wheel. So I'm going to cut him off the wire. I don't think I leathered him there, or did I? Yeah, I think I did. Yes, I did. Now I've got a lump of clay here. Now I'm thinking to myself, that lump of clay is going to be too small for that. For the lid, I think. So we're now going to grab hold of him, put him just over there. May just have to add a little bit of clay to this. So I'm just going to quickly, I've just got to knead up a little bit more. You can actually knead up on your wheel head, except, you know, with these Shimpos, the wheel spins, doesn't it? These Shimpos, because it doesn't. They don't stay stationary enough. So when you knead, you've got to knead right in the centre, otherwise the thing goes round. That's a good exercise for you, isn't it? Well, I hope that's good enough. Let's hope it is. Okay. looking at it and thinking that's too much clay. Ha ha ha. Right, okay. If it's too much clay, I'll just cut it off. Better to have too much than not enough. So, now looking at this guy, you can see I need to, when I throw it, and allow enough depth on the reverse side there to finish the top. So maybe we should have a session on making lids. That probably would be good, wouldn't it? How to make lids. Because what we have to do when we make a lid is, you know, you've got to split the clay, because some's got to come upwards and some's got to go out, hasn't it? Now I generally do that by turning my finger over like that. It's good to make sure that the depth of the gallery here is not too mean. You know, leave enough clay so you've got a decent lip there, enough to let's measure it again. It's gone too wide. So if you go too wide, you're going to have to, one way, if you go too wide, lift it up and that will bring it in again. So I think that's looking all right. All right. So leather the rim. Put a stick in underneath just to give it a token sticking, because this of course will be trimmed later when it's all right. Leather the gallery here. Alright, we're going to cut him off. Like that. I'm going to put the lid up there next to the body. There. Now when you cut a lid off like this, you don't want to deform it, do you? So you've got to get right in underneath it. And I use dry fingertips and walk your fingers under the pot. Lift it up and then walk your fingers underneath here, you see? Walk them underneath till you can grab grab the lid. Okay, so we're going to put the lid there next to the body. Let that dry nice and slow, and then we'll come back to it, fit it up, facet it, and now this example that I'm copying here is made of it looks like it's got some iron in the clay. It's a sort of greyish in reduction. They've obviously dipped it in a white slip when it was leather hard, okay. And then before the slip completely dried, with the tip of the finger, I suspect they did a finger, what I call a finger wipe decoration, to get that. Rather nice, isn't it? Just spontaneous, quick, just with the end of the finger. And that's how that is done. It's then, of course, where they dipped it in the white slip, it's sponged off. The lid is then, of course, also dipped. It looks like a celadon glaze over a white slip, which gives you a very pale looking celadon, but dark, you see, where they've broken through the slip with the end of their fingers. Okay, so we'll leave it at that for now. We'll come back to this in the next session. We'll talk more about it. We'll work through it, put it together and finish it off. Okay? Simon Leach saying, keep practicing. See you soon. Dee, 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 dee.